Hello, welcome to another Fantasy Football Tournament Series number 98, and this is the CNL CONCACAF Nations League Group Winners' Cup. You may remember that I made a UEFA Nations League UNL Group Winners' Cup about a year ago, maybe more, where I took all the winners and teams that were promoted from their respective groups in their respective leagues in the UEFA Nations League. And since the CONCACAF Nations League is in the books now, it's been in the books for several months. Semifinals still an ongoing process, having been delayed due to the coronavirus. I thought I would do the same concept here, but for the North American Confederation, and take all the teams that won their groups in the Nations League and earned promotion to a league higher up or to the semifinals, and went ahead and made a tournament of those successful nations. Now, because there are 3 leagues and each league have 4 groups, that means there were 12 group winners. So this contains, it's a tournament that's basically under the style of the old CONCACAF Gold Cup format. It basically sort of is kind of like a CONCACAF Gold Cup under the 12-team format. So there's 3 groups of 4. The 2 best group winners, 2 best teams in each group advance, as well as the 2 best third-place teams. So let's go through the group. My host nation in Group A have gone with the USA. I mean, it's just common for the US to host CONCACAF tournaments. So in Group A is USA. The lighting is kind of bright on the American flag here. El Salvador, who were in League B Group 2. They were promoted to League A after topping their group ahead of the Dominican Republic, Montserrat, and St. Lucia. We have Guatemala, who were promoted from Group C quite easily, from Group C3. We have another team from Group C here because one group has to contain 2 teams from League C, and this is the Bahamas. The Bahamas were promoted from Group C2. In Group B, we have Mexico. The winners of Group B won and advanced to the semifinals of the Nations League. Still pending, but they're the favorites to win the Nations League. We have Suriname, who were promoted from League B Group 4 into League A. Barbados, who were promoted from League C Group 1 into League B. And Honduras, who were group winners in League A Group 3. They also advanced to the semifinals. And in Group C, we have Costa Rica, who are winners of Group D4. They're also the other last semifinalist. We have Grenada, who are winners of Group B in League 1. They've been promoted to League A. Jamaica, winners of League B Group 3. They were promoted to League A. And Guadeloupe, winners of League C Group 4. They were promoted to League B. So let's jump right in. USA versus El Salvador in the opening game. There's a bit of a glare here. I can't do much about it. USA, I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for the US. And between Guatemala and the Bahamas, the camera resolution should be a little bit better now. I'm going to go with a high-scoring 5-2 win for Guatemala. They absolutely destroyed their group in League C. They were only in League C to begin with, because they were suspended by FIFA and were automatically had to be placed in League C. But otherwise, they're a League B caliber side. So 5-2 win for Guatemala over the Bahamas. Then we have the USA versus Guatemala. I'm going with a 4-1 win for the US. And Bahamas versus El Salvador. I'm going to go with a 3-0 win for El Salvador. Bahamas versus the USA. I'm going to go with a 6-0 win for the US. And between El Salvador and Guatemala, going to go with a 2-1 win for El Salvador, Los Cuscatlecos. So this would mean USA tops the group with 9 points, El Salvador with 6 in second, Guatemala with 3, Bahamas in last with 0. So Bahamas are out. U.S. and El Salvador advance. And Guatemala's fate remains to be seen. Moving on to Group B, we have Mexico versus Suriname and Barbados versus Honduras. I'm going to go with I'll say A 3-1 win for Mexico. I think Suriname can get something. A goal. I think Suriname can score in this match. Gleofeo Vleiter to score a late compensation for the Dutch Caribbean side. 3-1 win for Mexico. And then between Barbados and Honduras, I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Honduras. They're sort of rebuilding right now. I don't think this would be an emphatic victory. Barbados held their own in the Nations League qualifiers. They almost picked off a famous result on Nicaragua. Mexico versus Barbados. Going with a very comfortable win here for Mexico, 7-0. And Honduras versus Suriname. Honduras' experience in CONCACAF competition will see them through. But I'm going to go with a very, not so very comfortable victory here. 2-1 for Honduras. I think Suriname are really one of the most improved sides in the CONCACAF region. They've qualified for the 2021 CONCACAF Gold Cup. Keep an eye on them. But Honduras takes this match 2-1. Suriname versus Barbados. Going to go with the high-scoring 4-2 victory for Suriname. And Honduras versus Mexico, going with a 2-0 win for Mexico here. So Mexico tops the group with 9 points. Honduras in second with 6 points. Suriname on 3 points. Barbados with 0 points. So Barbados are out. Mexico and Honduras go through. Suriname remains to be seen. Group C, Costa Rica versus Grenada and Jamaica versus Guadeloupe. Yeah, Costa Rica are just never a good bet in CONCACAF competitions. They've only reached 2 of the last 7 or 8 CONCACAF Gold Cup semifinals, which is an incredibly horrible record for a regional heavyweight. They just don't cut it in these kind of tournaments. I predicted them to flop in the last Gold Cup, and they did so. I don't know what it is with them. They just don't really tend to reach the latter rounds very often. And they don't really perform convincingly. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory here only for Costa Rica over Grenada. They struggled to put away Bermuda last summer. Grenada, newly promoted into League A, they've qualified for the 2021 Gold Cup, the Spice Boys, with their top goal scorer, Jamal Charles. But I'm going to say Costa Rica wins this 2-1. Jamaica versus Guadeloupe. Guadeloupe, a decent French Caribbean side. I think they're good enough to play spoiler here, but Jamaica will win out Theodore Whitmore's men on the day. But this will be an entertaining game, I have to say. 3-2. A 3-2 win for Jamaica over Guadeloupe. Costa Rica versus Jamaica. 2 teams that will be making a strong case for the Hex and to qualify for the next World Cup. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw between the Ticos and the Reggae Boys. And then between Guadeloupe and Grenada, both these teams will need a win if they want to increase their chances of coming through the group. But I'm seeing a stalemate here, doing favors for absolutely nobody. Another 1-1 draw. Grenada versus Jamaica. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win for Jamaica here. And between Guadeloupe and Costa Rica will do enough to come through. I mean, they usually do enough. A 2-0 win over Guadeloupe, 2-0. So I have Jamaica and Costa Rica finishing on 7 points each, from 2 wins and a draw against each other. Jamaica, in this case, would actually top the group by the third tiebreaker of number of goals scored, 7 to Costa Rica's 5, which sounds about right. Costa Rica tends to not really score that very many goals. They drew 3 of their 4 games in the Nations League this past season. Guadeloupe would come in third with 1 point, with 1 goal scored or better goal difference than Grenada, also on 1 point. But I mean, it doesn't matter very much because they would both have 1 point and both would be eliminated. So Jamaica with 7, Costa Rica with 7, and both Guadeloupe and Grenada with 1. Which means that the 2 best third-place teams who advance are Guatemala and Suriname. So the quarterfinals, we have the runners-up of Group A versus the runners-up of Group C. Guatemala versus Costa Rica. The winner of Group A, USA, versus the runner-up of Group B, Honduras. We have the winner of Group B, Mexico, versus the runner-up of Group A, El Salvador. And we have the winner of Group C, Jamaica, versus the third-place team from Group B, Suriname. So these are the quarterfinals. Get a good look here. All right, so Guatemala versus Costa Rica. I'm going to go with just a 1-0 win for Costa Rica. When I say they half-ass it in CONCACAF tournaments, I'm not. It's no joke. So Costa Rica would get to the semifinals here, which is funny because I've been quite ruthless on them so far. Yet this would be their best finish in a CONCACAF competition since 2002, when the last time they got to the Gold Cup final or something like that. They got to the semis in 2017 and 2009, but that's pretty much it. With the USA versus Honduras, I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory here for the US. But for drama purposes, let's say Honduras takes the early lead. US rallies to score 2 goals to come from behind. Mexico versus El Salvador. I'm going to go with a 4-1 win for Mexico. El Salvador will score from a penalty, but Mexico will romp into the semifinals. 4-1. And then Jamaica versus Suriname. I'm going to go with a very tenuous 1-0 win for the Reggae Boys. I think Suriname could really give them a run for their money. Could be the dark horse team in this entire tournament. Was even tempted to pick Suriname in an upset, but I'm going to show the Reggae Boys some respect here. Which brings us to the semifinals, and really, if you think about it, I think these 4 teams are arguably the 4 best in the entire region. Costa Rica versus the USA, and Mexico versus Jamaica. I'm going to go with a 1-0 victory for the US over Costa Rica in a hotly contested battle that extends into extra time. 1-0 for the US. Jordan Morris scores the winner. And then between Mexico and Jamaica, I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Mexico. 2-0 for Mexico, but I think Jamaica will make it tough. Both goals to come in the second half. Yeah, 0-0 after 45 minutes, but Mexico wears them down in the second half, 2-0. In the third place game, between Costa Rica and Jamaica, 2 teams that were in the same group. They ended in a 1-1 draw. I'm seeing yet another draw here. I'm going to go with another 1-1 draw. Andre Blake coming up huge for the Reggae Boys on penalties to give Jamaica the bronze medal. So Costa Rica comes in 4th, I think. Jamaica comes in 3rd. Which brings us to the final. Yes, the North American Classico, something almost of an inevitability, isn't it? USA versus Mexico. I would love for us to win this, but I got to be honest, I think it would be something like of a repeat of last summer's Gold Cup. I don't think it would be like what the September friendly was, where we lost to them 3-0. Before the Nations League started. It'll be because it is a major final, it'll be a close affair, but Mexico just has too much quality, don't they? I'm going to go with a 1-0 win for Mexico. Same score line from last summer's final. 1-0. Herving Chucky Lozano with the winner. So basically it ends like this. Mexico wins the CNL CONCACAF Nations League Group Winners' Cup. USA in 2nd. Jamaica in 3rd. Costa Rica in 4th. Leave a comment below, like, subscribe. Hopefully I'll see you guys soon, God willing. Until then, as always, have a good one, much love, and peace out.